Welcome to the Emerging Pearl Show. I am Eliza Boné, and I developed this show to inspire women to embrace a life defined by love, passion, healing, and serenity through natural wellness solutions. I refer to this healing journey as the Emerging Pearl. As an essential oil educator and wellness advocate, I believe that a holistic approach of integrating mind, body, and spirit will provide us with optimal health. And today we will be discussing the importance of reducing inflammation in our bodies and why this is crucial to your wellness. With our busy lives and hectic schedules, eating whole natural foods, exercising, and even sleeping enough can be challenging. However, for those that struggle with inflammatory health issues, the results of ongoing inflammation can only worsen chronic pain conditions. Joining us today is Heather Dailey, owner of Ever Healthy. Heather is a certified nutritional health coach who helps people find balance in all areas of life, meeting their unique needs. Thank you for joining us, Heather.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited you're here because some of the things we're going to discuss today are really important for everyone to know, but specifically individuals that are dealing with chronic pain.
Yes, absolutely.
But before we get to that, why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself? What inspired you to become a nutritional coach?
Well, inflammation is part of it. When I was in my 20s, it started in my early 20s, I started gaining weight. But along with the weight came chronic insomnia. I had a lot of digestive issues. I was on many prescriptions I ended up on, from acid reflux, ulcers, and at 25 I had my gallbladder removed, which is a little younger than normal. And it kept happening, different things, going to the hospital, but nobody could tell me what was wrong or what I needed to do to change it. So I started researching myself and reading every article I could find on diet, well-being, mind balance, whatever you can think of that I thought would help me. And several years later, I found what worked for me and the unique diet that I go on myself, because we're all different. And I'm now off every single prescription I've ever been on. I don't have poor sleep quality to the deal or the level that I had it on before. I don't have acid reflux anymore, and I don't have chronic pain in my back. There's so many things I don't deal with that I dealt with before, and I can't wait to just tell people things that they can do to at least lessen the pain or remove things that they've dealt with for a long time. Hopefully maybe get them off of medication if I can.
That is a great goal for all of us.
Thank you.
And that is really moving because I also dealt with a lot of pain. And so that journey of self-healing, because being dependent on medication, it's this merry-go-round of pharmaceuticals. And even though we're one of the nations that spends the most in medical costs, we're not any healthier for it, are we?
Right, no, we're not.
And so the inflammation, I know it's a natural part of healing. Everybody goes through it at one point or another. It's an ongoing process. However, at what point do we concern ourselves with the inflammation? At which juncture should we really realize there might be a risk that we need to mitigate?
It's usually when you have it on a regular basis. And how do you know you have it? You may have pain when you wake up in the morning, and that's becoming more normal, and you think that that's just the norm. It's not. You start gaining weight, your sleep quality goes down. You also might take a lot longer than you used to get over a cold or the flu. A cut or a bruise may take longer to heal. Those are all signs of having chronic inflammation in your body. And so that's the point where you want to start making some changes and there's many different things that you can do to improve that.
And so what about individuals that are struggling with conditions that are basically based on the inflammation response taking place in their body? Maybe people that have fibromyalgia, like myself, or individuals with arthritis.
So there's a lot of different things that they can do. The first thing is sleep. Everyone can benefit from more sleep in their life, and there's several different things you can do to improve your sleep, from your diet to when you go to bed and when you eat, not just what you eat. You're digesting about 2 hours after you eat. Your body temperature raises, so there's one place to start. Adding in different types of food that are anti-inflammatory is a huge start as well, and moving, exercising. You're not meant to be sedentary, so when you are on a regular basis, you're not setting yourself up for success. You're actually causing, without knowing it, more inflammation in your body. And then learning how to remove things like chemicals, herbicides, pesticides, and things that are toxins. When you're always on a detox state, you're going to have inflammation in your body as well. So those are all places that you can start making changes.
And so what are some things, I know you touched on a few of them, but what are some things we really need to look for that may be the culprits to our inflammation? Is there something specific that maybe we're not even aware that we're doing this and we have this ongoing subtle inflammation taking place?
I would say that the number one thing in my mind is sugar. Sugar comes in many, many different names, so learning how to read labels and what amount should you be getting in. The American Heart Association normally recommends around 25 grams for women and 37 for men. And if you look at certain drinks, there could be 35 or 40. That's more than an entire day you're supposed to get.
In one serving.
Yeah, one serving. So really learning how to read labels and look at the sugar. Processed foods also contain a lot of chemicals, and certain types of foods that aren't organic can have more chemicals and pesticides, which your body goes into detox mode to remove. So adding in things that are organic is a great way to start, and trying to remove processed foods from your diet. But also learning some of the names of sugar, and just some real quick high ones that you're going to see on a lot of things is high fructose corn syrup, alternates like aspartame and saccharin. Your liver does not know the difference, and it still processes those the exact same way as it would sugar. You can still spike your glucose levels when you're not intending to, thinking, oh, I'm not getting in sugar, it's an artificial one. Well, your body doesn't know. So those are some places to start. Anything ending in ose or tol a lot of times, like xylitol, glucose, fructose, those are all different types of names of sugar. So some good alternatives are honey, maple syrup. You can do agave syrup. Stevia is from a natural extract from a plant. That's another thing that you could have instead of another brand that might have saccharin or aspartame in it.
So if individuals can have sugar, can they have cane sugar, or are we talking just fructose corn syrup?
You can have cane sugar. It's really the amount of cane sugar that you're having. Your body can handle cane sugar. But if you're having it on a regular basis, it does a number of things besides inflammation in the body. So I would say just try to learn how to have it in moderation. I would rather have cane sugar than aspartame or something artificial, because it goes through your body pretty harshly, and I think that we can do things to get back to basics and be more natural. And cane sugar is a natural item.
Right.
Just not a lot of it.
And so when you're saying
37 for men and 25 for women.
And that includes all types of sugar.
Mm-hmm.
That would be honey and agave.
Yes,
okay.
It's all types of sugar.
Yeah.
So I would try to stick with that. If you go a little above it, but you're normally going way above it, you're still at a good place to start. Reducing it in general, you'll notice. You'll feel more energy. Your sleep should improve if sugar is something you get a lot of.
For those individuals that perhaps are doing low carb lifestyles, I would assume that lowering the carbs would also lower their daily intake of sugar?
So people may not realize there's a lot of sugar in breads and pastas and a lot of the wheat products out there that aren't from natural grains. And so if you lower your carbs, you are probably lowering a lot of your sugars. Cereals are loaded with sugars. A lot of oatmeals are flavored with sugars. So, look at the labels and you'll be a little shocked. Some of the dairy products are loaded with sugar that you wouldn't think. So lower carbs does help you process things. A lot of refined grains cause inflammation. So it's also going to help them anyway to reduce their refined grains, basically.
So you've mentioned sugar as a contributing factor to inflammation. What other things should we consider when it comes to our diet?
Okay. Omega-6 fats are ones you don't want in your system. They do cause inflammation. So things like vegetable oils, margarine, and peanuts. Peanuts are legumes, but they're high in omega-6 fatty acids. So putting in healthy fats like olive oil, which is anti-inflammatory, Healthy nuts, almonds, cashews, walnuts, those are all very healthy for you and cause inflammatory responses in your body. Adding in things with antioxidants like beets. If you're making a salad, a great thing to add is cilantro and parsley. They remove metals from your body, so that's a good one to add in. And then leafy greens are anti-inflammatory and contain a lot of nutrients and antioxidants. So really adding in the things that are healthy for you. Omega-3s are anti-inflammatory. You can get those from fish. So something that's kind of unique in a fruit is the golden berry. They contain omega-3s. They're high in protein and anti-inflammatory. They have antioxidants. They can be a little spendier, but a little goes a long way. And so really learning the diet that is right for you. Some people are also allergic to things. So something you may think is healthy, if you react poorly to it, don't eat it. My brother's allergic to apples. They cause inflammation in his body. So listen to your body when you're eating. But start with leafy greens, berries, and nuts. And fish, if you can have fish. They have great omega-3s in them, and those are healthy foods to add into your diet. And try, if you can, to go for organic. You don't have to put your body through detoxifying chemicals, herbicides, pesticides. So that's a great way to start.
So I know that individuals can look up the Dirty Dozen, and that'll tell you the 12 that you should probably make sure you get organic.
Right.
And then there's the Healthy 15. So those are fruits and vegetables that are safer to use, that are conventionally grown.
Right.
So that's really helpful information that I had to research myself because of the inflammation that I had going on. And if I remember correctly, a study I read indicated that the levels of omega-6s and 3s should be a ratio of 1-to-1. However, because of our diet and our lifestyle, we are just really taking in so many more omega-6s, and that's what's really elevating our inflammation.
Yeah. Processed foods are very high in omega-6s because of a lot of oils that they use. So it is something I would definitely try to remove and get back to the levels you should be at.
And so besides the sugar and some of the other things that you mentioned, what are some key ingredients that we should avoid?
I would avoid eating a lot of peanuts because of the high fat. Salt intake, sodium, is also something that your body reacts poorly to, and it causes dehydration, and hydration is a big part of your inflammatory response. So trying to be lower on your sodium intake. Don't get stuff that's got added salt if you don't have to. Things that have added flavors involving things like MSGs or other things where they're not using natural products are something to avoid. Anything that's fried, obviously, if you don't know what kind of oil was used, it's probably better not to have it. Breaded items, again, the pastas, cereals, and look at, if you're eating yogurt, really look at the yogurt, because those are very high a lot of times in sugar as well. So things that you think are okay, it might say fat-free, sugar-free, 0 calories, really look at the labels. There's something else added in there to make it that way, and that might be something you have to detox from your body. And I would say if something says healthy, understand what that means, because there aren't really requirements for putting healthy on a label. Organic, yes. It's healthy, no. So
Yeah, that's one of the things that I really had to educate myself as I was going through the process of detoxifying and figuring out which foods were causing the most inflammation to my body, was really analyzing the labels, learning how to read them, understanding what the different ingredients were. And it was a process it was quite the chore to get to the market and pick up every single ingredient and read it.
Yeah, it can seem daunting.
It really was.
Another one to watch is red meats. Where is it coming from? Was the meat in chickens as well? Were they given growth hormones? A lot of times they're fed grains. That's not their natural diet. They're given these antibiotics to keep them healthy while they're living and eating things they're not supposed to, because they have inflammation. When you're eating those meats, that also goes into your body. Not to say you can't have meat, but the quality of the meat is very important.
And that would go for eggs. And
eggs, which are a good
dairy
source of
you're
omega-3s if
consuming.
you have the right kind of eggs.
Exactly.
Yeah, so
So a lot of thought has to go into what we're putting in our bodies.
another thing to be careful with is if you're eating high amounts of dairy, dairy is a mucus producing and it lines your intestines. You will absorb less nutrients if you have a very high dairy diet. And dairy, you know, has calcium. Quality dairy can be good for you, but it's another thing to try in moderation and see how you feel. Your body will tell you.
And so besides the diet, all of those great components that you mentioned are really valuable. But we also have to consider, you said exercise, right? How does that help with inflammation in the body?
Exercise, the moment you start sweating, you're naturally detoxifying. Your skin is your largest organ, and it will come out through your skin. And if you're breaking out a lot, that's another sign that you may have inflammation or eating something your body is detoxing. But exercise helps your circulatory system. It gets your heart rate going. It improves your heart health, and it kind of has that downward effect where everything in your body starts moving correctly. It helps your digestive system. So exercise in general, no doctor is ever going to tell you no one should exercise. They recommend around 20 to 30 minutes a day. That doesn't mean going out and running a mile, 3 miles, or 5 miles. Gardening can be exercise, playing with your grandkids, doing something you love and enjoy. Don't make it something that you don't want to do. You're more motivated if it's something you look forward to. So dancing. Dance in your kitchen by yourself. Turn your music on. Anything to get you moving. Walking outside on a nice day. So I'd recommend anything you can do to get yourself outside, breathe the fresh air, get your heart rate up, and start moving.
So we have food, exercise, and what about sleep?
Sleep is very important. Sleep is when your body heals and repairs. Your tissues are repairing. Everything is at work when you're sleeping. It's when your body has a chance to stop and everything else has a chance to wake up and get everything going that needs to be healed, tissue repair, brain health, everything. So there are many ways you can improve your sleep. One is to start learning what helps you calm down. Meditation, yogic breathing, just taking some time to breathe in slowly and breathe out as long as you can. Helps quiet your mind, but it also kind of sets the tone that you're going to calm down, you're going to get ready for bed. I like to diffuse lavender oil before I go to bed. It has a very good calming effect. Another thing is, you know, if your brain has a hard time shutting off before you go to bed, keep a journal by your bed. Write down everything you need to do the night before so that you're not laying there trying to think of all the different things going on the next day. You've already done that before you go to bed. And having a routine before bed can also help train your brain that it's, oh, I'm doing these things, I'm getting ready to go to bed. Have a routine that's like 15-20 minutes you do every night before bed. Maybe prep your lunch, get your clothes ready, brush your teeth, wash your face, do whatever else you normally do, and have it the same routine. And you can train yourself to start going to bed. I actually learned that in a sleep clinic in my 20s, and it works.
It really does. I did a sleep clinic myself, and I had really horrible insomnia. And I think a lot of that was because of the pain I was going through. But in addition to that, I didn't have really healthy habits. I didn't have a good sleep routine. And so I know that maybe avoiding electronics about half an hour before you go to bed because of the blue light that's emitted is keeping your brain alert. The other thing I used to do to help reduce my inflammation and also help prepare me for my sleep routine was taking a really warm bath with Epsom salts and baking soda. A nurse told me that the baking soda really helps the magnesium get absorbed into the body, and so it's very calming, very therapeutic, and you're detoxing at the same time and relaxes the body and reduces that inflammation. So who doesn't love a nice warm hot bubble bath before you go to bed?
Magnesium is very good for you. Another thing that's helpful is sleep teas, chamomile, or if you are taking a magnesium bath, I like to put a little bit of frankincense or a lavender oil in there. Those are very, very calming and excellent for your body. And they just smell good. You just smell really good.
Absolutely.
It's a positive experience before bed. Caffeine is another one, so really watching how much caffeine are you drinking and when's your last cup. Caffeine stays with you for a very long time, so trying to drink early in the morning and then stopping it at a certain point. If you're drinking afternoon, most likely it's still in your system when you're trying to go to bed. So it's another thing to just kind of watch.
And you also have to be aware that your body may be sensitive even to decaffeinated coffee.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I'm one of those individuals. If I have a cup of decaf, I can feel myself doing the monkey brain in the evening because I'm very sensitive, super sensitive to caffeine, but even the decaffeinated has a little bit of caffeine in it. And so just being aware of that sensibility in your body, perhaps switch to some herbal teas and then just see if you notice a difference. But caffeine's a big one, I think, for a lot of people that struggle with sleep.
And it's hard not to want, you have this jolt of energy, but you're going to have a crash too, and then you're going to have another jolt, and you're going to not know how to handle it, especially if you're trying to sleep. So also the light that you talked about is really important. If you don't have curtains or a way to kind of block out the light, maybe get an eye mask. That's helpful at night to put over your face so that when you do wake up in the middle of the night, if there's a clock next to you with a light or anything, it's not causing you to wake up. And refrigerator lights actually alert your brain that it's time to get up. They're bright enough, so if you're one of those people that I'm going to go get something in the middle of the night, it's not the best idea. Plus, you shouldn't be digesting while you're trying to sleep.
Right. The other thing that I had to do, because that's how sensitive I am, is I use earplugs at night.
I do too because of my cat.
The birds wake me up at 4:30 in the morning in the summer, and I am just so alert all the time. My system just tends to wake up with the slightest noise. So the birds or even the fan going, there's just all these different little noises, ambient noises that can wake you up.
Yeah.
So I'm a person that highly recommends the earplugs.
I would
You're
too.
one of those individuals.
I didn't do it for years. I had a cat that was waking me. I still have a cat that wakes me up at 3, 4 sometimes in the morning, and they're wonders. I don't hear the cat anymore.
But all of these little tools can really set us up for success. So we have the food, the exercise, the sleep. Is there anything else that we should take into consideration?
Stress.
Oh, yes.
So your body produces hormones when you're stressed. You can go into a fight or flight state, and it doesn't know the difference between physical stress and emotional stress. So you can work as hard as you can and you think, well, stress isn't impacting me. That's not necessarily true, and there's mounting evidence against it. So it's a good thing to research on different ways to handle stress, but really have a journal. Like I said, have a journal by your bed, and if you have something bothering you, writing it down and getting it all out is very therapeutic and very helpful. And it's also just kind of a release of negative emotion. You don't want to start your day or go to bed with negative emotion. If you can start it in a different way, writing everything out, get it out of your system, or find someone that you can talk to, it's very, very helpful. And then we can choose how we handle our stress. If you look in the mirror and you have a negative self-image, start taking a really good look at yourself. There are things about yourself you can find that you like. I like my eyes today. Be thankful for something. That can help lower your stress as well. And ask for help if you need help, if you just feel overscheduled or overwhelmed. It's surprising how many people are there waiting to help you, and it's just a matter of reaching out. It's a hard thing to do, but just give it a shot, and it does wonders.
I am in total agreement with the different tips you've mentioned. I personally, for the longest time, taped affirmations to my mirror, and I learned about mirror exercises. So actually looking at yourself in the mirror while you read your affirmations, you can come up with 3 or 4 of them. It takes 30 seconds to do. And after a time, you start to really reconstruct some of those neural pathways in your brain. It starts to get into the subconscious. And even though initially it may not sound authentic or real, you will start to believe it over time, because we need to be our best advocate. We need to be our own best friend. And so loving yourself and feeling good about yourself is essential to your wellness. because wellness is mind, body, spirit. And so reducing the stress, like you mentioned, it's key to integrating all these different facets.
I very much agree with the affirmations. I've done that myself. In my 20s, I also had some self-image issues, and I read quite a few books on things that would help me, and affirmations was one of them. You set your intentions when you do that, and you can change your story. You can change the woe is me to I'm excited for today. And it's amazing how something so small can make such a big difference in your life just by saying something positive. And it's fun to write them. Write out something that you find that's positive. Write out something you enjoy, something you're grateful for. It's very powerful.
I know that one of the things that helped me tremendously was having a gratitude journal.
Mm-hmm.
I know we've talked about this, but a study I read mentioned how writing just 3 things you're grateful for.
Mm-hmm.
First thing in the morning, especially half an hour within waking, you're still coming out of that REM sleep, and so your subconscious is very impressionable at that time. So if you focus your mind on positive things as soon as you wake up, it sets your intention,
Mm-hmm.
like you mentioned, and it prepares your mind to look for the good, for the blessings in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And over time, you start to focus on what's good and positive. And the negative, it's always going to be there, but it's going to be minimized, because remember, where your attention goes, that's what expands. And so focusing on the positive, the blessings, the good things in your life, first thing in the morning, will help set you up for success. And so I love this. I love that you're here and that you shared all this great information with us. I really appreciate it, and know that our audience is going to really benefit from all of these tips as well. I invite you to take small, incremental steps toward improving your diet, your sleep habits, your exercise, and your stress levels, particularly if you're suffering from chronic pain. Integrating these holistic approaches will help you reduce your inflammation and get you on the road to a healthy life. Eating right is the foundation on which everything else is built upon, and making that a priority in your life will be well worth the effort. To see prior episodes of my show, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and email me with any questions regarding the information that was shared on the show today. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Until next time, and remember to always reveal your inner pearl.